to Chalk Talk presented by U.S. Sailing. U.S. Sailing, a great supporter of college sailing and sailing everywhere in the United States. And we want to give them a sincere thank you for supporting this last season of Chalk Talk. Hard to believe that we're already at the end here. Once again, I'm Chris Love.
I'm Eric Stark.
And Eric, we just finished a great 10-day regatta, the College Nationals out there at the Gorge in Oregon. Pretty spectacular scenery, pretty amazing conditions, and apparently very unique conditions for this particular regatta. I talked to Bill Symes, who's been there over 20 years. He said the river has never been this high and running this fast for a sailing regatta. So it was kind of an interesting way to wrap up the college season. We had starting lines where people were lining up 100 yards downwind, lay lines coming up very, very fast, and the whole fleet sailing almost beyond the gate just to round without hitting the marks. So kind of interesting, and it did largely define the racing out there for these three championships. Up first, we had the women's. Unfortunately, kind of crummy weather there for the finals. We had 2 days of semifinals, 2 days of finals. Only 7 races completed in the final round. A division got an 8th race in, but they didn't have time to match it to a B division race, so that one gets thrown out. Doesn't much matter, though. The results would have been the same either way. URI taking the win.
This means everything to me, just coming here as a freshman, all the pressure is put on B in the last race, and you know what, she killed it, and it all goes out to Chanel right now.
The current is something that I don't think I've ever experienced current like that ever, so it was a whole learning experience from day one, and we got an edge on every other team by being out there a day and a half earlier.
So there you have it, Chris. University of Rhode Island, the 2011 Sperry Topsider ICSA Women's National Champs. Amy Hawkins, Caroline Hall, Chanel Miller, and Danielle Fugeri getting the job done. They credited sailing the semifinals. We talked about this before the event, and I think, if we could take it back, I would say, given the very, very particular conditions you mentioned, any practice you can get in that is worth it. You can see that Con and St. Mary's, right on URI's heels, just were a little behind from early on. They took a couple sets to learn what it was going to be like and then to maximize their potential. In A Division, a very tight contest, Georgetown, Sydney Bolger and Rebecca Evans take the win. Amy Hawkins and Caroline Hall, URI, get second. Freshman Atlantic Brugman third. Megan McGill rounding out top 4. B Division, HWS seniors Kelly Crane, Holly Hafine, and Hannah Littell get the win. And URI, you don't have to win divisions to win championships. They get second again, Chanel Miller and Danielle Fugeri. And Yale freshmen, we've been talking about them all year. Marlena Fowler, Eugenia Custo-Gregg getting third in B.
Some of those sailors getting awards for that, and we'll hear about those in a few minutes. But first, the top award. We've been hyping this up for a few weeks now. The Quantum Female College Sailor of the Year. And we had 2 nominees this year. We thought that we might get third. Sydney Bolger does not get nominated. Kind of makes sense. She didn't sail as much as these other 2. Megan McGill and Annie Hager both nominated for Sailor of the Year. Annie Hager takes the award for 2011.
First person I want to thank my dad because he's my biggest supporter, and I also want to thank my mom for putting up for my dad.
Joining the 3 that we already mentioned, we also have senior Elizabeth Barry, Atlantic Brugman, Claire Dennis, and Stephanie Roble.
And Chris, the honorable mentions, we've got Emily Billing, also from Yale, Emily Dellenbaugh, Brown, Marlena Fowler for Yale's 3rd member of the team, Amy Hawkins from URI, Emily Lambert from Harvard, Emily Maxwell from BC, Caroline Patton from HWS, and Brianna Provancha getting BC, another woman on the team.
Taking to the river next was the team racing, and just as we expected, dramatic, exciting, close racing all the way to the finish, and those top teams that we've talked about all season were right there. Hobart just barely gets knocked out of the Final 4 by St. Mary's. Those 2 finish 5th and 6th, St. Mary's losing a tiebreaker to Georgetown. Georgetown, Charleston, BC, and Roger Williams all advanced to the Final 4. Charleston finishes 3rd, Georgetown 4th, and it all comes down to the final race of the regatta between BC and Roger Williams to see who will take the championship. A fantastic, exciting race to the finish, but Roger Williams finishes on top. Cy Thompson, Kelly Stannard, Alec Anderson, Sophie Bellicosa, Sean Bouchard, Bianca Ram, Tyler Wilson, Cam Pimentel, Josh Saltmarsh, Alyssa Seyfarth, and Coach Amanda Callahan. Congratulations to all those guys for winning the 2011 APS ICSA Team Racing National Championship.
It was nice to have a little regroup before the Final Four. We were still right in it. We knew we could do it. Of course, it would come down to race against BC.
I give all the credit to the B team.
Yeah.
We were a really solid B team back home. Cam, Schwa, and George Saunders, who couldn't make it here today.
Shout out to George.
Shout out to George.
Ski trip.
And we have wicked good crews.
And we have all-round crews. Like, we have so many crews that can sail with so many different skippers.
And the grand finale, Chris, the 2011 Gill ICSA Co-Ed Dinghy National Championship. BC gets the job done, wins the event, third in A, first in B, closed it out in style with Hobart, Harvard, and Georgetown right on their heels, and they ran away and never looked back. Charlie Buckingham and his cast of crews wins A division for Georgetown, and Taylor Canfield, along with his crews, leads the Eagles to the overall win. And the winners of their division, Charlie Buckingham and Taylor Canfield, lead the list of finalists for the College Sailor of the Year. Rounding out that list, Michael Menninger, senior from St. Mary's, Tyler Sinks, and Cy Thompson. 5 finalists this year, and in a very competitive year, Charlie Buckingham wins it for the second time in his 4-year college sailing career. So huge congratulations to him.
Joining those 5 for All-Americans, we've got Alec Anderson from Roger Williams, Jackson Benvenuti and Mac Mace from College of Charleston, Alan Palmer from Harvard, Fred Strammer from Brown, and David Thompson from Hobart William Smith.
And for the honorable mention, Scott Fernary from Georgetown, Clark Hayes from Navy, Zach Marks from USF, Joe Morris from Yale, John Stokes from Harvard, and Robert Van from Navy.
Robert Van also getting the ICSA Sportsman of the Year. And then we've got the crews. We did pretty well in the All-Americans for women and co-ed, by the way. We mixed up a few honorable mentions in our predictions, but crews, as we expected, a little bit hairier. I think we were somewhere around 50%. Alyssa Aitken, Blair Belling, Quincy Bach, Elizabeth Brim, Hannah Burrows, Perry Emseek, Rebecca Evans, Sally Evans, Madeline Jackson, Christopher Clevin, Francis Coopersmith, Severio Muldari, Emily Massa, Emily Migliaccio, Ashley Phillips, Meredith Pallison, Emily Reish, Kelly Stannard, Lucy Wallace, and Megan Wareham.
Like you said, Chris, we did okay at that. Obviously not as well as the committee. They put in lots and lots of hours, and we really need to thank them. It's well worth recognizing what all these sailors accomplished. It's fantastic to watch. Congratulations to all of this year's All-Americans and national champions.
And Eric, we still have the unpleasant business of our year-long prediction contest. If you're new to Chalk Talk, Eric and I like to pick who we think's going to win the big regatta of the weekend. Going into nationals, I was 1 point behind. I had a chance to win if I got 2 out of 3. Unfortunately, Eric and I were both wrong for our women's picks and our co-eds picks. I got Roger Williams correct for team racing, which brings us to a tie. Whoever expected that?
It's sad, really.
So we wagered a YouTube-style, fat kid singing in front of his computer video that the loser would have to do. Unfortunately, we tied and we never set what the tiebreaker would be. So I think as punishment for only going 1 out of 3 for nationals, we got to both do it, Eric.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right, Chris. I think we let our viewers down. I know I let myself down, and I'll put my all into this video at some stage.
All right, well, in the next week, let's decide what the other person has to do for their video. It can be a song, a monologue. We can, of course, take suggestions here in the comments section for what we'd like to see the other person do. And then sometime this summer, we're going to have to get those videos up. We'll let the viewers decide if they make the grade.
Sounds good, Chris.
Well, Eric, it's been a pleasure all season long analyzing college sailing and predicting who we think is going to win. Thanks so much for joining us for another season of Chalk Talk.
Thank you, Chris. I've enjoyed it. Like I said, I love watching the game, and it's been a pleasure.
And Eric, I know you are in Weymouth, England for the Sail for Gold, one of the biggest qualifiers, and then you've got a full summer of 49er sailing ahead of you. So have a great time. Best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
Congratulations to those guys, the APS ICSA 2011 College National Championship champions, team race national champions.